Hey guys, I'm here with Moka, and I'm going to be talking about leopard gecko temperature and humidity. So leopard geckos live in more hot climates. So in the day, you'll want the basking spot to be from about 87 to 96 degrees. And the cool side of the enclosure should be at least 80 degrees and no higher than 87. So at night you can let it drop lower. For leopard geckos, they live in more deserty climates, so they're used to drops in temperature at night. So you can let the temperature drop to the 60s at night, but don't let it get any lower than that. I recommend having the temperature a little bit more in the 70s at night, because the 60s is a little bit low. If you can, try to let it go, try not to go into the 60s at night, but it's okay. So the basking temperature at night should be at the most 85 degrees. And the cool side should be at the most 80 degrees, but try to keep it lower than that. So for humidity, leopard geckos' climates are more dry, so you don't want it to get over 60%. It's best if it's lower than that. If you can get it lower than, if you can get it 30% or lower, then that's great. But just don't let it get above 60%. A lot of people miss their leopard geckos enclosures, and if you don't live in a really dry area, I'd recommend you don't mist it. You can keep the humid hide. Always provide a humid hide, and you should keep it damp at all times, and that will be their source of humidity. So, she just jumped. Okay, so, I'd recommend you just don't mist it like a lot of people do, because it will kind of raise the humidity a lot, unless you live in a really dry climate and it's normally like 30% or less. Then you can mist it really lightly every once in a while. But I'd recommend you just don't mist it, because it's not, as long as you have a humid hide, it's not really necessary that you mist the enclosure. But just don't let the humidity go over 60%. If it does go over, check, stop misting it and check the kind of substrate you're using. Because if you live in a humid environment, a humid area, and you use eco-earth, it might get pretty humid in the enclosure. So you might, if you live in a really humid place, you might want to switch to a different substrate because eco-earth holds humidity really well. And also, if you might not want to have a very large water bowl because that would increase the humidity. So, also, after you clean the cage, a lot of times it'll be more humid than it normally is, and that's okay as long as it's only just that, as long as it doesn't stay humid. So it's normal if it's really humid right after you clean the cage. But make sure it doesn't stay humid. So the reason why you shouldn't keep the cage humid is because leopard geckos normally live in dry habitats, and if the humidity is too high, then the leopard gecko could develop a respiratory infection, which is basically deadly for them. And also, if the temperature is too low, they could also develop a respiratory infection. And you don't want respiratory infections because it can get really bad, and you'd have to pay money for a vet for your leopard gecko to be checked by a vet. So, I got Moka's cage cleaned not too long ago, and I can show it to you. It looks really cool. So this is Moka's cage. See, I have that temperature and humidity gauge back there. Yeah. So I do want to switch to a Exoterra sometime soon, because it's a lot easier when the door is open in the front. But for now, I have this cage right here. This, I think it's a Zilla terrarium. Yeah, and I have that water dish back there, and then the calcium dish, and I have, whoa, Moka. And I have 3 hides: humid hide, the cool hide, and the warm hide. Then I have a few plants in there and some rocks. And I have that background in there. I want to get a foam background, but I'm just going to wait until I get an Exoterra terrarium. So yeah, she has some driftwood in there too. And she has a halogen lamp and a ceramic heat emitter. Yeah. So I think that's about all, guys. I hope this helped you. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I think that's all.